It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm sitting on my couch in these Houston streets, guys. It is Thursday. Welcome to another episode of the In Love Show, where all things are love and all things are definitely a conversation. And I am so excited about tonight's show because I have two very special guests tonight, Tiffany Michelle and the girlfriend's therapist, Nettie Jones. Now, these ladies are entrepreneurs and they are some powerhouses, honey, that are all about empowerment, self love, and the list continues. So I am hoping for those that are watching tonight, you like, you share, you comment, and get in on the conversation. Drop your comments into the comment section or your questions, and we'll be happy to respond. Okay. But before we start the show, guys, I want to tell y'all the ultimate girlfriends conversation is the best. I don't know how many of you guys have those close friends, and if you don't, I hope you get you some because it is all about those women that you surround yourself with and men who can uplift you, encourage you, empower you to the fullest. So well, not to the fullest. However, they will help build you up as you continue to build yourself. So I want to tell you about my guest. Tiffany Michelle. She's an entrepreneur. She's always had this mindset. She spent 17 years of her life working here at the local hospital in Houston with teen girls. She started planning small vacations. She became a freelance travel agent. And she also has her own travel business, a luxe travel business for the love of her family, guys. In 2004, after divorce, after being laid off, she took matters into her own hands and she found her own journey to get back on track. And that is what life is about, guys. So she is the founder and CEO of the Women in Wine Empowerment Weekend, which is happening right here in Houston. But I'll let her tell you a little bit more about this. Everyone, welcome to the show, Tiffany Michelle. Hi,
Hello.
Tiffany. How
Hi.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You know what? I can't complain. I can, but I won't. I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. Well, welcome to the In Love Show. It's such a pleasure to have you as a
Yes.
guest. So
Thank you for
thank you for
having me.
you are so welcome and thank you for taking the time to chit chat a little bit about it. Now, let's go back a little bit before I start asking you some other questions. Working, being laid off, being
Mhm.
divorced as a mom. I only can imagine what you went through. And I have read a little bit about your story, but it's not my story to tell.
Mhm.
So, could you tell us just a brief synopsis of what happened, what transpired, and what brought you to this place where you are now?
Mhm. I was working at a local hospital, like you said, in Houston, and I worked there for a little bit over 17 years. Thought I was going to retire from there. I had been there so long. I loved it, but God had another plan. So I was laid off from there, and my family, we always have been my traveling because my dad worked for the airport for the airline, and my mom worked for Hertz Rent a Car. She was the manager, so we were missing that piece of getting hotel discounts. So I decided to get my travel agent's license, just really for my family, for when we took trips. That way we would have discounts on hotels. And once I got laid off, I decided to go into it full time. I had to learn a lot, because now my business, I really focus on like destination event planning and group trips because I learned very quickly that booking one trip at a time is not enough to pay your bills when you have two
Right.
kids. So,
Right.
yeah, so I started kind of finding my niche in it and focusing on groups. And it's just grown from there. COVID taught me a lot because, travel kind of almost went away, with COVID. But, and then that's how I found my niche with the event.
Okay. Now, I know also too, you are divorced. I
Hmm.
am a mother of two as well.
Hmm.
Divorced times two as well. Well, I won't
Hmm.
say as well. I don't know how many times you've been divorced, but going through that, I mean, it's an emotional journey. So,
Yeah.
can you are you comfortable
Mhm.
talking about that aspect of your life?
Hmm. It is. It's very emotional. Actually, my ex-husband and I, we're still really good friends. And to be honest, we probably should have stayed friends and never been married. Sometimes it just works out like that. But just the whole divorce with your kids, it's like you don't want your kids to go through that. You don't want your kids to experience certain things. They're used to certain things before. They were used to taking family trips and doing all these things, and then now when it's just me, a lot of that changed. So yeah, it was very, very emotional. And I don't know, it's like I just got through it the best way that I could. I kind of figured it out, found my way, made sure that my kids understood that, your dad is still your dad, but we're just not, together anymore in the same household, but he's still your dad. And that was pretty much it. But I mean, there's no book for that. So you just got to kind of
Sure.
you just got to kind of find your way.
So was there like a point where you struggled and you just had to say, you know what, I have to make this decision? And if so, what was that?
The decision to get a divorce.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The
so
decision to put you first and what you really needed for you, because a lot of people don't understand
mhm,
that aspect of it, right? They don't
mhm,
understand that we are people too.
mhm,
And although we're a wife, we're a mother, we
mhm.
can't lose ourselves. So
You
was there
can't.
any defining moment, without giving too much detail,
Mhm,
um, that was for you that, you know what, I have to do this for me?
mhm. The defining moment for me, I mean, I'll just be transparent. The reason we got a divorce is because of infidelity. So the defining moment for me was when my children were old enough to realize what was going on, to hear the arguing, the fighting about it, and to know that my dad is, cheating on my mom. And I didn't want them to grow up thinking that that's okay. So, and a lot of times I feel like you learn how to be an adult based on what you see as a child growing up. You
Right.
learn what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So I just didn't want that for I have two daughters, so I just didn't want that for them. And it was just at that point when they were old enough, I was just like, you know what? No, like I got to put me and my children first.
What's nothing wrong with that? Well, kudos to
Mhm.
you for the courage that it took, and to step out and not really know like what that next is.
What?
But you're right. You know, when you have faith in God, then
Mm-hmm.
he told you to have faith, and that's all you need, and he will move those mountains.
Yeah.
And look at you now. So
Yeah.
congratulations to you for your
Thank
courage,
you.
and I applaud you very much for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about your mission. Your mission is to help women in what capacity?
So basically, my mission is to help in any capacity. If I don't have the resources or I don't know myself, that was the point of me putting together the event. That way, we have someone with all resources. We have someone with mental health, real estate, just anything. So my mission is to help women to become the best versions of themselves and to not be afraid to step out, because a lot of times if you're stuck in a situation, like I can say for me, when I got a divorce, I was like, I should have got a divorce a long time ago.
Right. I know the feeling.
Yeah, I was just like, man, I should have been did this. So I just want women to know that, hey, you can do it too. You can step out. It may not be easy, but be consistent and just know what you're going after and go for it.
Right. Okay. Oh wow, we have some comments here. I just want to pause for a second. They're
Mhm.
loving your transparency. Thank you, Latoria. And Francesca Allen says, "Wow, what a powerful story." Thank you, Francesca,
Mhm.
for your comments, and thank you for tuning in. Tiffany, I am excited about this Women and Wine Empowerment Weekend, but I want you to tell us about the importance of women empowerment to you, and not just for women, but also for men.
So we incorporate men in the event because a lot of times your girlfriend, so they'll say, oh, you're pretty, oh, your hair is pretty, oh, you look fire, girl. But when you hear it from a man, sometimes it just hits a little different.
Right.
So it's important for men to pour into women and uplift us as well, because a lot of times when you're in a relationship, you may ask your man, how do I look? And he's like, oh, you look okay. And we was
Mm,
like, okay,
I
I
know
took
that.
all day to put this on. So
Yes,
um,
all day
we
for your
incorporate
behind.
men for you to say it's okay.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So
so it's very important.
it is very important. And I think a lot of men don't
Mhm.
even realize that what they say to a woman or how they say things to a woman can have impact. Um, and I'm only speaking for myself,
Yeah.
but I mean, I have friends and I have other friends that were divorced. I have friends that are single and hold on to that hurt because that
Oh yeah.
man did not empower them in the manner that they felt or that they needed. A lot of
Hmm.
times, a man, I was just having this conversation, a man may think that just because he's there and paying the bills and at least he's coming home, that that's enough.
Yeah, it's
But what
not.
about you empowering me to say, you know what, baby, how can I help you achieve your next goal? Or, you know what, I got the dinner tonight,
Hmm.
relax. I know you had a long day. You do a lot. So just that encouragement is something that is lacking. And I do believe in today's society, especially with dating in 2023, that value is like literally out the window.
It
So
is.
I'm so glad that you are incorporating men into your event because it's an important piece for those that are dating, for those that are married. um I won't say for those that are in a situationship. What did Jada used to call it? An entanglement.
An
Not I
entanglement.
won't say I don't know about that part, but all those other umbrellas, I definitely
Hmm.
am glad that you decided to include those men into the conversation because
Yeah.
they do have a voice and
Mhm.
regardless of what men think, women do like to listen.
We
So
do.
we sure do. So the inspiration behind the Women and Wine weekend empowerment event, what was your biggest motivator behind that?
Um, I would say the pandemic, because I went from having so many clients with my business, celebrity clients. My biggest client at the time was 50 Cent's old DJ, DJ Who Kid. And they were calling, everybody was calling saying, I don't really look at TV. So everybody was saying, hey, they're going to shut down the world. And, we may need to cancel the trip. And I'm like, the world is big. So I'm like, what do
Right,
you mean that doesn't happen?
right.
And it just kept going until I had nobody. And I was like, well, wow. So I wanted to do something when we came back, because before we just went and had fun. We went, we did a destination event, they had fun, they partied, whatever it is. And I just kind of put everything together. But I wanted to do something more meaningful. Yes, we have fun. Yes, but we can network and we can get something from it. You can still leave with something from it besides just, hey, I went and, I drank and, whatever. So that
Right.
was my biggest motivator.
That was your biggest well, that's awesome too, working in a hospital environment for over 17 years
Mhm.
and then moving into the travel business and then finding yourself with some celebrity clientele. Like,
Mhm.
who was your first one? Were you excited?
My first one was it was a DJ in Atlanta, and to be honest, I didn't even know what I was doing then. And I don't remember his name. He's a popular DJ in the Atlanta area, and we ended up not even booking the trip because I was just kind of like all over the place. So everything was like a learning experience. So my first one that actually went through was Manny Fresh. And
Oh, wow.
so I did something with him. I did something with a couple of other celebrity DJs during the pandemic. We went from doing um, group travel to doing yacht parties. So, and that was like a whole nother territory that I wasn't ready for and didn't know anything about either.
But you
So, and
learned.
then, it was, oh Lord, I won't do that again.
I understand. understand. I understand. But maybe you should. Well, thank you for sharing that. I always get excited when you start something new. I remember my
Mhm.
first celebrity guest, and I was just like, oh my God. And I was trying not to be starstruck, but you have to tone it down. Remember that,
Yes,
okay, this is a business. I have to be professional. So I definitely
exactly.
understand. Now, this, from my understanding, this is your second annual Women and Wine Empowerment Weekend that you're holding right here in Houston at the Norris Conference Center in City Center. So,
Mhm.
second annual.
Second.
How does that feel?
It feels surreal. I'm excited, but this is the week before, so of course I'm still kind of stressed out a little bit.
Right.
So, so after it's over is when you're kind of like, wow.
Well, I'm excited for you because I know that this is going to be the second, and then there's going to be a third, and then there's going to be a fourth because you have an amazing lineup of notable guest speakers, and you're touching on topics such as mental health, relationship, business startups, and so much more. Can you give us like a little teaser of who will be on that list?
So on the list this year, we have Super Scent. She's going to be there. Dr. Heavenly is going to be there talking about Dr. Heavenly University. We have Letitia Pearson from Bell Collective. She's going to be there. We have Houston hometown hero Trey the Truth. He's going to be there. We have a lot of other guests as well. We also have Miss Skittle. She's going to be there. I'm trying to play the flyer back in my head. That's why. But we have Miss Skittle. She's a marketing guru. She'll be there. Yeah. And
So
that's pretty much it with the headliners.
it sounds like you have a star-studded lineup.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Congratulations to you.
Thank
So
you.
tell our listeners, where can we find these tickets, girl? It's a 2-day event,
It's
and
a
it
2 day
is
event.
so encouraging and empowering and uplifting, and
Mm-hmm.
something that we all can benefit from
Yes.
anytime. Okay,
Mhm.
so where can we find these tickets?
So the tickets are at www.womenandwineweekend.com.
Okay, www.womenandwineweekend.com. It's
Mm-hmm.
happening not this weekend, but next
Next
weekend.
weekend.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's a 2-day event, guys, on the 12th and the 13th, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken. But I
It is.
want to know what's next for you.
What is next? I want to start doing maybe small networking events leading up to it because I want to kind of keep the momentum going. So I want to start a community of women where we brunch, we meet up once a month and just network and kind of empower each other instead of it going dead until next August. So that's what's next for me.
Well, awesome. Well, I hope you
Mhm.
definitely keep me posted, and especially our viewers of the In Love Show, because we
Yes,
love things that are love and things that are all about conversation. So make sure you let us know because we'll definitely love to be there.
yes, yes, most definitely.
All right, Tiffany, before we go, I want you to tell our listeners what is your social media handle and give us that website one more time.
The website is womenandwineweekend.com, and the social media is the same, Women and Wine Weekend.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it here from the CEO and founder herself, Miss Tiffany Michelle, the
Yes.
founder of the Women and Wine Empowerment Weekend that's happening next week. And let's see, definitely gotta go. We have some listeners that say they definitely have to go. So you
Let's give
listen, I'm
away two
excited for
tickets.
you. I hope it is everything and more. And all the best to you, Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining in.
Yes. Before we leave, let's give away two tickets.
Oh, okay. Well, how can we give away those tickets?
So I don't know. Let's ask them something that we talked about, maybe.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. So, how many children does Tiffany have? I know they typing.
Hmm.
I can see the little thing. No!
She said the wrong thing.
Cut it in half. Yes, yes, yes. Two, two, two. Francesca Allen, you just won 2 tickets to a wonderful, wonderful weekend of women and wine and empowerment and conversation and so
Yes.
many more things. So Tiffany, we will I'll put you guys in touch
Mm-hmm.
after the show. And
Okay.
I thank you so much for giving away those tickets,
Yes,
Francesca.
of course.
Congratulations to you. I hope you have a what
Congratulations.
she's they're excited. They're so excited. So I hope you enjoy yourself, Francesca. You definitely have to make sure you post and tell us all about your
Yes,
experience. I would love it.
most
All
definitely.
right, Tiffany. Anything else? Any other surprises?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put you in the waiting room where you can
Okay.
hop off. I do have another guest coming on.
Okay.
But I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. But I want
Thank
to
you for
encourage you to
having me.
continue to keep all things love and
Yes.
keep giving out those conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye
Bye bye.
bye. Oh, excuse me, guys. Before I introduce our next guest, I have excuse me, not doctor, but Nettie Jones. Before I introduce her, I just want to have just a moment of transparency myself. Um, I don't talk about myself a lot. My personal life is very personal to me. But talking to these women today and also talking to some of my friends, I realized that I was hiding in plain sight. And I've had my own bouts with depression, being a teenage mom, young mother, and living to survive, being in an unhappy marriage. I knew some things had to change for me. I really knew. And it was such a hard time for me because that breaking point, gosh, that breaking point for me was the part where I said, I need some help. Okay. Spiritual guidance was my first seeker. And my second thing was going to therapy, which in an African American household, most of the time, that is a huge no no. We don't tell anybody our problems, you don't talk about it, you hold it in. But I can say that it really saved my life, and I learned to love me in the process. So, this is why I'm so excited about our next guest. I have met her in the past. We've been in the same room several times. And so when I found out that the girlfriend's therapist, Ms. Nettie Jones, has written a book, I was just ecstatic and I knew that she had to be on the show. So Nettie Jones, she is a licensed psychotherapist for over 25 years, and she has written a book, The Girlfriend's Therapist Handbook, Owning Your Truth and Transforming Your Life. And it is a book that focuses on women and how to reach their potential, and rediscover themselves through self awareness, examination, love, truth, you name it. So I'm excited because Nettie is sharing some things of her own in this book, but she's also giving you some work to do. So, without further ado, I'm so happy to welcome to the show Nettie Jones. Ah, hi! Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
There we go. How are you? How are
Oh
you?
my, I'm good. I'm so good. How are you? How
I'm
have
good,
you
babe.
been?
I've been well. You look amazing. It's been a while.
It has
It's been
been a
a while.
while, and you look like I saw you yesterday because you have not changed, not one
Well, I receive
bit.
it with the love it's given, lady. I receive it. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
You are so welcome, and thank you for being a guest. When I saw your social media, and I was like, she came out with a book. I was like, oh my gosh. And when I got the email, I say, we were thinking alike because I was getting ready to reach out to you to ask you to be a guest. And your publicist beat me to the
Voila.
punch. So thank you to your publicist, Kim. Thank you, girl. I
Yes,
appreciate
yes,
it.
yes. Well,
So
listen, I definitely, I put a note down here for Miss Tiffany, the woman in wine empowerment. I love me some wine, so I'm gonna have to make sure I show up that weekend.
yes, show up. I will
Yes,
definitely after the show. Let me see if I can connect you too, and make sure
absolutely.
You can
Absolutely.
get there. I'll reach out. I'll reach out. Excuse me, Nettie. I'm just getting over a cold. So excuse me, Nettie.
Yes.
Now, what I love, let me just start off with this. The cover of the book where you are sitting here with like you looking like girl. Let me tell you something. That is exactly the face that you did it. You did that.
You know what, Nicole, let me tell you something. My clients, when they see this book, they're
Hmm.
like, okay, okay, Nettie. Because, I'll give them that look like, really?
But you know
Oh,
what?
yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad because when you have some true friends or someone that's truly listening to what it is that is on your mind, what's on your heart, and you have to do that sometimes, like, girl.
Absolutely.
And we do know that body gestures, of course, facial expressions are also a form of communication.
Hmm.
So the name of the book, your whole body language, girl, you are a whole vibe.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's the intention. It took me about 5 years to write this book, Nicole. And I love to read. And people that know me know I'm always giving you some suggestions for some books to read. And so I'm like, you know what? I need to write my own book. And so it was a labor of love. And I poured everything I had into this. I had a great editor who really helped me kind of dig, as she would say, you need to dig deeper. And I'm like, I can't go no deeper, girl, but I did. And so owning your truth and transforming your life is the tagline. And that is truly what I believe this book allows women to do, is to hone in, to tap into themselves so that they can. And that's that look of own your truth. And when you own it, you transform your life. But you got to get to know
It's one part here that just really struck a nerve with me about this book, and not in a bad way, but
her.
it brought me back to I don't know if you heard my moment of transparency, but
Okay.
just what I went through and my emotions at that time, and feeling like I was seeking happiness and joy from a relationship. Um, and I know now, where it stemmed from. It stemmed from me being a teenage mom and feeling like having a man by my side was going to validate who I was as a woman, and that I was more than just a teenage mom. But I never, ever, ever stopped prior to that to look in the mirror.
Hmm.
And when you had said that we look to everybody else except that person that we see in the mirror. When I tell you that was my breakthrough, like what happened to me, I will never forget it to this day. I was cleaning my house, I was by myself, I was struggling, I was praying, I was crying, and I would never stop to look at myself in the mirror because it terrified me so much. It terrified me so much. And I remember I was cleaning my downstairs bathroom, and I had turned off the light and I saw my reflection. And it was like, God said, go back. And I
Mm.
turned the light on and I saw myself for the first time.
Wow.
And that was that same day that was like, I'm leaving. And immediately I felt released. But it took me to stop and look in that mirror and actually really, really, really see myself,
Yeah.
to say, this isn't who I am. I'm searching to
Hmm.
see who I am, but I know this isn't it. And so when I read that this guide um is about seeking affirmation and love by who you see, I mean, that just really hit that with me, and it brought me back to remembrance of why I started to change my life and why I did change my life and put me first and love me. So I just want to talk a little bit about that aspect. the importance of looking in a mirror, not from a person individually, but from a therapist who has so much experience. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, absolutely. Nicole, you are not alone in that avoidance where, for whatever reason, we don't want to look at ourselves. I mean, the list, we can go on and on. I don't want to look at myself because I don't like my hair. I don't like my weight. I don't like my nose. I don't like my complexion. I don't like, we can go on and on and on. But the bottom line is looking at her allows you to accept her. And one of the things I think is the most beautiful thing to do is you ask yourself to see yourself through God's eyes. If you can just see who he sees you as. Not everybody's a Christian, so that may be a stretch for some people. But first of all, looking at yourself allows you to, number one, stop and take a minute and pay attention to her. The other part is we try to figure out everybody else, our children, our spouses, our significant others, our family, our friends, but we don't try to figure out her, she, you know. And that is what the book is about. It is about getting to know her, slowing down long enough to ask yourself some questions. You are the only person that knows you. You are an authority on you. Women ask me, I'm not as confident as I used to be. How do I become confident again? I've lost it. No, you haven't lost it. You just put everybody in front of her. How do I get to love myself? Well, if you stop loving everybody else and try to put some of that energy on yourself, then you can learn to love yourself. And why are we expecting people to love us when we're not willing to love ourselves? I mean, so this allows you to start to dig a little bit deeper of why you can't sit still and be quiet and be with you. Oh, I don't want to be in my thoughts. Why not?
Ooh.
Because those thoughts, you make me feel bad. Are they true? See, that's the part where you start to ask yourself these questions. So am I really not productive? No, that's not true. I just didn't do all the things I had planned to do today, but I was productive. Am I not successful? Well, who's defining my success? I'm not feeling like I'm enough. Enough for whom? And how do you measure your enough? Somebody else or to yourself? And how do you know when you've arrived and you are enough? I mean, these are the kind of questions that we never ask.
That is so true. That's so true. It's so true. This is why you the girlfriend's therapist, girl. I love your realness approach. And I know you said you took 5 years to write this book. But I also know that this book, this guide, this tool is no nonsense. It's unapologetic, and it comes from like your girlfriend view. Like if you were sitting there, I imagine reading this book. I haven't gotten it yet. But I imagine reading this book, and I feel like I would be sitting there having a conversation with my girlfriend. But how was it difficult for you to say, you know what, I want to be so raw and authentic, and I'm not going to apologize for the things that I need to say? Was it a difficult task for you in your writing process?
So 5 years, I started, and then the pandemic hit. But I'm going to be completely honest. I'm a first time author, so I'm not a writer. And so I had to figure out what this looks like. And I would always say I've got a lot of books in my head, but being able to take all of this and dump it out on some paper so that it could make sense was a challenge for me. Then we had the pandemic. Of course, that put everything on hold. And then towards, at some point, I started to feel that creativity a little bit again, and I connected with my editor, and we started back up. So that was that. How hard was it for me to be raw? Not at all. It wasn't hard at all. I think this is who I am. I love what I do. I feel it's an honor and a privilege. I feel blessed to be able to talk to women every day about the importance of putting themselves first. Not everybody gets to work in their passion and their purpose, and I feel that I get to do that. I never feel like I'm working. So being upfront and honest was not a difficult thing for me. Um, I tell you what was a little difficult was, telling my story, because I didn't want the book to be about me. It is not a book about Nettie, it's a book about women. But guess what? I'm a woman. And so one of the things I think that I do a little different from maybe some of the other therapists is that I do share just a little bit of my personal life, because I believe that women need to know I too have challenges. I'm insecure. There are areas of my life I've had insecurity. There are areas in my life that I have fear. And so for me to share those times, and in the book I talk about, when my life shifted and changed for me. I'm approaching 60 now, but it was when I turned 40 that I said, you know what? I'm not giving anybody else the responsibility to manage my emotions and to celebrate me. I'm responsible for that. And that light bulb went off for me. And I hope this book allows women earlier, or wherever, whatever season you are, wherever you are, that you can make some adjustments and make some changes so that you live your best life. That whole thing about my best life, my best life. Well, you know what? You get to create it. Nobody else does. And that's what we keep looking for, as you were saying, those external things that make us happy. No, you are responsible for creating that for her. She deserves it. She deserves what she desires.
Well, I agree with that. She does deserve what she desires. And I am glad that you allowed yourself to be transparent in the book, because although people do go to therapy, and I think that was something that helped as well, that I'm not expecting you to give me your life story, but I do want a connection. I don't want to feel like I'm just another person that you're
Mhm.
listening to until the next appointment comes along.
Yeah.
But it's that connectivity that people also crave, and the trust factor also is built upon allowing, because our stories, our lives, our journeys is what really connects people to each other. And it doesn't matter what stage of life you're in, what age, any of that. It's those stories. We've all been through something.
Yeah.
And in some shape, form, or fashion, we can relate in some type of way. And so when you allowed yourself to add your own personal narrative in there, I really think that was a wonderful idea. And I'm glad that you did, because you are a person and you are not your profession. It doesn't mean that because you're a therapist that you have all the answers and you live this perfect life. And I'll be honest, I've had that bias before. But it's not true. You're still a
No, I'm
woman.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm a lot of work.
I don't
Yes.
believe that, Nettie, but I'm gonna take you for your word.
No, I have to do the work, and I call it the self work. There are mornings I roll over and I'm like, Lord, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't know what's going on. I'm just not in a good space, and I have to encourage myself, I have to pull out all the stops. I got to pull out all the tools so that I can get myself going. But once I do, I'm good.
We have a common. Me too. Me too.
Yes, yes. Nicole, you were saying about the realness and things like that, and that connection. This is the deal. It is important for you to find someone, if you choose to have a therapist, somebody that you connect with. Everybody's personality is different. And that's really important, because if you're going to go and share your story to someone, you need to feel comfortable. And if you don't feel comfortable, then you need to just kind of shop around until you find somebody that you connect with. Some people want therapists that are very direct. I'm not a directive. I don't tell you what to do. Some people want you to say, I need you to tell me to do boom, 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 boom. But that's not me, you know. But some people may like the approach. So everybody has to figure out what fits for them and what works for them, that will allow them to work through that journey of healing, restoring, or just creating whatever they want to create in that therapeutic process. So that's
So
really important. Mhm.
It is a lot of work, but I'm glad you say that. I don't want anyone to direct me, but I do want someone to listen. So it sounds like, you have that listening ear, that listening factor where you're letting get out. I don't know the process, but I mean, I don't know if you get to ask probing questions after that. I mean, but it sounds like a lot of people have misconstruencies about going to therapy and seeing someone and talking to someone, but um it is it's it's a way of self-discovery if you're stuck. And this is what I get from the synopsis of your book. Because I also know that it's talking about how to embrace yourself. So I want you to talk a little bit about that in the book. What are some ways that you're saying, you know what, this guide is a tool, not to tell you what to do, but to help you. And in what ways? How can we do that?
Okay, so couple of things. The premise of this book is to get you to focus on you. And that's one of the things that we don't do. How do you embrace yourself? How often do you talk to yourself in a way that's nurturing and loving? How often do you say, what do you need? How often do you say, how do you feel? What's going on? So it's about being kind. It's about nurturing her and then getting to know who she is, not who you present her to be, but who she is. And, we show up in these different roles, and I get it. But at the end of the day, underneath those roles, there is a woman, there is a little girl, but do you know her? And the only way you're going to know a person is to connect with them. If you're in a relationship with somebody, you woke up every morning, you never spoke, you didn't say anything to them, you could see that they were struggling, you could see that they had a bad day, you never asked how you're doing. But when you finally say something to them, it's not positive, it's not kind, it's not nice, it's you always, you never, you are, and it's not anything that's loving and kind. How do you think you would feel about that person? And how do you think that person would make you feel? Well, I'm talking about you with yourself.
So it sounds like this guide is also making you take accountability. Look in the mirror,
Yeah.
take accountability.
Who else is accountable for you, Nicole?
Yeah.
Call yourself on the table. So this is it's not chapters. I did perspective. So one of the things I believe, change your perspective, change your life. All right. And so instead of chapter 1, chapter 2, I called it perspective 1, perspective 2, because it's just a perspective. I just want you to consider a different perspective. And so after each perspective, there is a pause or perspective. That is for you to pause, and I ask questions. So you are absolutely right. A great therapist is a good listener. She or he should be listening for the other person's understanding, not theirs. It's kind of like if you're watching a movie and it's being narrated, I'm following everything that's going on. I'm just trying to see everything from your purview, from your view, right? That is a good therapist. A good therapist doesn't give you advice. They ask you questions.
Yeah.
And those questions are questions for you to answer for yourself. And I often will say to clients, this is not for me. You don't have to answer me. I want you to think about that and answer that for yourself. There's no right or wrong answer. It is your answer. And so this book is a working book. It's not a workbook, but it is a working book. My mother loves to read, and my daughters were like, Granny's going to read this in one day. Just knew she would. My mother's still reading the book. And I said, Mom, well, is it, you don't like it? Because no. Well written. But baby, you asked me some questions, and that's got me thinking. so, I said, well, okay, well, I need you to speed up your thinking because I want your input. I want your feedback. But yes, my goal as a therapist, as a woman of color, is for women to understand who they are, the power, the beauty, the elegance, the grace that resides within them. And we don't have to go and buy the finest, whatever it is, so that we feel that way. She already exists. Those things just enhance her beauty. But, one of the greatest gifts a client can share and say to me is, I now know what you mean, Nettie. I love me some me. That is priceless. And so we don't always feel that way. And so, with all my flaws, with all of my life challenges and challenges to come, I fall more and more in love with her, with all of her flaws and insecurities and fears and all the isms that go along with me. But I know about them and I embrace them. And those things that I want to work on, I do. And those that I'm not quite ready to tackle, I just know they're there.
Mm-hmm. Woo! I'm over here getting emotional.
Well,
Well, this is what happens with the girlfriend's therapist, right?
It's
Yes,
the
girlfriend.
estrogen.
Yes,
Estrogen, girl.
This book, I can't wait to get my hands on it. Um, because it makes me feel like I have work to do still.
Yeah.
And I know, and I think it's always a great time. It's always a great time to say, I need to put into work. You should never stop working on yourself. I'm a firm believer in that. You should never stop learning, whether it's yourself or you're learning something to build your skill set or whatever the case may be. But I think every day is an opportunity to learn. And right now we're trying to learn some decisions, but let me see. I don't know if we have time for a question, but it looks like I have a question for you. And I have a couple comments. So I'm so inspired. You're speaking the truth. That's from Franny. Then I have Katrina. She's like, yes, I like that that what that your feelings are there and they're valid. So this question is about, it looks like, let me see. It looks like it's about when you don't quite know what to do. In the book, I don't know how this is addressed it, but when you are not too happy, but you're trying to make the best of a situation. Let me look at this. Without, I don't want to spill this person's business, but they're trying to make the best of a situation, and they're conflicted because on one hand things are great, but they know that in their heart this isn't the type of person who they are, but they don't want to be too premature on their actions. So what does the girlfriend's therapist say about working through self-conflict?
I don't think she's conflicted. Trust yourself. You know what? I talk to women every day. 95% of my practice is women. And that still small voice. See, this is the deal. When you connect with her, then you know that she's there because she's never going to leave you astray. She shows up. She always has your back. She'll never let you down. And so we know from the beginning, this not quite right. But you keep going and you keep going. So one of the things I put down here, confusion, but then it's like you're not quite sure. But there is something about this apprehension that you feel like you should get what you want. Well, then if you're not getting what you want, there's no confusion. You know, this is not where you want to be or who you want to be with. Now, we have to be careful. We say we want this, but this is what we're dealing with. Now you got to make up your mind. Either you want what you want or you just get what you get or get what you got. And then you have to decide how can I be comfortable in the discomfort of this situation because it's not really what I want. If you choose to whether it's a job or relationship, we stay way too long in relationships waiting for somebody else to change. Now you already know that's not what you want, or this is not where you want. Premature. If it's not what you want right now, it probably will not be what you want. I don't know how old this lady is, not that age has anything to do with it, but if you are in a position where you're ready for a relationship emotionally, psychologically, financially, physically, spiritually, you are ready. And this person, you don't think that they're quite ready. So that means you got to wait for them. That's a lot of waiting. So it sounds like you know what you need to do. Now you just have to decide when you're going to do it. So trust yourself. You don't need to trust anybody else but her. She speaks. But you got to connect with it so that's her voice and not your girlfriend saying, girl, you know what? You too picky. You got your standards too high.
Or girl, at least he do this and at least he do that. I had that mentality for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I ain't give a crap what that man did next. I had to go.
I hope that answered her questions. But you know what? When you feel like you don't know what to do, and in that particular instance, you kind of gave a little bit. Sometimes we don't know what to do. And so sometimes we just have to sit and then speak to ourselves and talk and say what is best for you. So I know you're running low on time. I want to share this with you. This is something.
Hey, you take all the time you need, Nettie. I promise you.
I share with my clients, and you can write this down. You can jot this down, ladies. But it is the decisions I make honor myself and are for my greater good. The decisions I make honor myself and are for my greater good. Now, a lot of times, honoring yourself is uncomfortable and you don't like it. But at the end of the day, it is for your greater good. So, lady, ask that question to yourself. The decision I make honors myself and is for my greater good.
Well, I hope that to that anonymous person, thank you for your question. They sent me an inbox with it. So I don't want to share their name, but I hope that advice has really poured into you and has helped giving you some clarity in regards to what it is that you want and need for her. In the words of Nettie, for her. Okay. So I sure hope that that's the case. Nettie, I'm not going to take too much more of your time, but we have to tell the listeners, the viewers, where can they find this Girlfriend's Therapist Handbook, this guide? Where can we get it?
Okay, you just go to the Girlfriend's Therapist Handbook.com. The Girlfriend's Therapist Handbook.com. You can also get it on Amazon. Easy enough. You go through the girlfriendstherapist.com, I'll send it to you and autograph it myself. But if it goes through Amazon, of course, I won't be able to autograph it. So, but yeah.
I want you to autograph mine. I want you.
Same price.
So I'm going to order a book. I think it's amazing. And I think I want to get one I want to give one to my daughter. I sure hope she reads it.
They're great gifts. Great gifts.
Yes. They are great gifts. I have a niece, I have a sister, so I definitely want some books. Nettie, let's talk about your social media handles. I have been following you for quite some time, and I am loving your tidbits that you're putting on there. So for those that are out there that are watching, excuse me, tell us your social media handles so that you can get poured into daily.
That's right. Yeah, it's the girlfriend. It's Nettie Jones TGT. Nettie Jones TGT. That's on social media, Instagram and Facebook. And I'm now up on Twitter. Okay, that's a challenge. I'm not a Twitter girl, but I'm going for it. And that is the real Nettie Jones. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Now, since you got on Twitter, you need to get on TikTok.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's TikTok, not Twitter. See, girl. That's yeah. It's showing.
So not Twitter, guys.
TikTok.
Twitter
Yes. No, not
has,
Twitter. It's TikTok. Cancel that.
TikTok.
TikTok.
TikTok. So all social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook. You can definitely reach her at her website. Again, www.thegirlfriendstherapisthandbook.com. Go get your book. If you want it signed and personalized, Nettie Jones, go to that website. If not, you can go to Amazon and keep giving them your money. But pour into this beautiful woman entrepreneur who is coming to you as a girlfriend, and she has some good things to say to heal you, to help you, and to encourage you to love yourself and your journey. Nettie, I cannot say thank you enough for
Thank you,
being
Nicole. I
on.
love this platform. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for having me. How do you
Thank you
come
so much.
back?
You can come back whenever you want to. Actually, I was going to ask you to hang on because I want to do something and have a pop-up conversation, ultimate girlfriends pop-up conversation, and I want you to be there. I want you to be there with your books. So
Okay.
I'm a DM you, girl, because you gotta say yes. I need you there. I need you there.
Wonderful. Okay,
Yes,
lady.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Any last words, Nettie?
No, no, none at all. Just check out the book, ladies. I think you will not regret it.
I
Thank you,
know you won't
Nicole.
regret
I
it. And
appreciate you.
you are so welcome. Oh wait, we have a Nettie help me. Have some feedback that's from Katrina. She said some great advice. Francesca says, "Amen." Um, so we're
Okay,
having some great feedback. I mean, you're the ultimate guest. I told y'all this is going to be the ultimate girlfriend's conversation. So I have the girlfriend here herself. I'm so glad that she was able to pour into you guys. Make sure you go grab her book. If not for you, grab it for someone that you know that can definitely grow and build from that. All right, Nettie. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. What are your last words?
oh, I don't have any.
You don't have any. All right, guys.
No,
Nettie,
own
thank
your truth and transform your life.
yes. Own
Start
your
today,
truth.
ladies.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, Nettie. Well, I'll definitely be promoting that on my platform as well. All the best to
Thank you.
you. And I am going to send you a DM so we can talk a little bit more.
All right.
Okay.
Good night, ladies.
Good night. All right, guys. Woo. What a show. What a show. What a show. I am so full. Starting out with Tiffany Michelle, who talked about women's empowerment. She gave us some of her journey, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm glad that she shared and had some moments of transparency there. And I think that's something that we all need. Thank you, Ty. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. But I think that we all forget to have those moments of transparency because we need them, but have those moments of transparency for you and no one else. As we wrap up today's show, I want to again encourage you to make sure you go and grab tickets. I'm going to drop those links in the comment where you can go get the book. Also get your tickets for the Women in Wine Empowerment Weekend for both men and women. Okay, so it's all inclusive. Make sure you go get your information. But most of all, guys, I want you guys to tune back in with me next week because we're going to be talking about thrift stores. Okay, I love a good thrift. I love me a great outfit. And so I'm going to have some special guests, and they are guys. Okay, they're guys that's going to tell you about getting it together thrift style. So make sure you come back, stay tuned, follow me on all social media platforms, The In Love Show on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you follow us, like, subscribe on YouTube, guys. But that's it. Thank you again for joining us tonight. Thank you for all of your comments and feedbacks, guys. Don't forget, you can still share this. And if you missed tonight's show, you can go to our YouTube channel. My link is in the bio, The In Love Show, where you can get a replay of this show. All right, guys. Until next time, keep all things love and all things conversation. Bye.